Thanks for joining us today on Senior Connections. This is our monthly look at programs and services offered for older adults in the Muskegon County area. It's brought to you by Senior Resources, which is your local area agency on aging for Muskegon, Oceana, and Ottawa counties. And every month we come together to talk about some different topics that we think are of interest to older adults and the people who care for them, and just anybody who's interested in what's going on. And it might be things related to Medicare or prescription drug coverage or senior millage programs, anything about the aging network, which can be kind of a confusing place because there's a lot of services and it's hard to know where to find them. So today I'm really excited to have my guest Sarah Mahoney, who is lead librarian II at the Muskegon Area District Library, affectionately known as MADL by many people. But Sarah oversees a very interesting and important part of that library for the visually and physically disabled. So we're going to spend our time today learning more about that. I'm really excited because I don't know a lot about it, so we're excited to share that with you. So welcome, Sarah. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start by sharing with our viewers a little bit about yourself. What's your background, how long you've been at the district library, and what makes you passionate about this work?
Yeah, so I have been a librarian with the Muskegon Area District Library for about a year, specifically in this capacity as the lead librarian for the Library for the Visually and Physically Disabled. Before that, I worked at the Kent District Library as an adult paraprofessional, which, in addition to my other duties, I worked as an assistant for the person who runs the Library for the Blind, the same program there. I was in that capacity for 3 years, and that's when I discovered the program and discovered that it was a really good program I was very passionate about. And then in total capacity, I've been a librarian or working in the libraries for about a decade, and I have my master's in library science.
So what got you interested in library science?
I've always really been interested in reading and been interested in helping people find what they want to read, always recommending things to my friends and family, and it just seemed like a good fit. And when I was younger, my mom said, we're going to the library so often, you might as well just work there.
Oh, wow.
And so I started doing that and decided it was a good fit and what I wanted to do. So I knew from high school that I wanted to be a librarian.
Mother was a wise woman. She
Yes.
saw that in you early.
Yes.
I also am an avid reader. Again, I was an English major, and I did that kind of because I love to read.
Me too.
Not for any other very practical reason. But we're not going to talk about that right now. So let's talk about the Library for the Visually and Physically Disabled. And I hope I don't stumble over that too much, but the name did change a little bit.
It did change. It used to be the Library for the Visually and
Impaired.
the visually handicapped.
Language changes.
It changed. It took me a while to get my mouth around it.
So the Library for the Visually and Physically Disabled.
Yes.
So let's talk about where that's located.
Yes, so that's located at 4845 Airline Road on Fruitport Township, and it is next to our MADL administrative office.
Okay.
It's connected in the same strip mall. And it has a big sign on the outside that says the Library for the Visually and Physically Disabled.
So while we have branches of the Muskegon Area District Library throughout the county, this is the only location for the Library for the Visually and Physically Disabled on Airline Road.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. You can get the information about the service and applications from any of the other MADL library branches, but this is the specific one where we take all of the phone calls and process everything.
Okay. So what's included there at that library? How is it different than the other district libraries around the community?
Yeah, so we have an adaptive technology laboratory where we have different things for people who are visually impaired. And we have the talking book program itself, including players and audio players and books for people, and me to answer any questions. And I can help people fill out everything and sign up at that location. And then we do also have the public side as well as a small public branch. So we have both.
All right, well, we're going to have you talk more about this. So how is this funded? Is it funded by our local tax dollars or another source or a combination?
It's a combination. So the Talking Book program and the Library for the Visually Disabled is federally and state funded. And then the public library side is funded by Muskegon tax dollars.
Okay.
So, but it's a nationwide program, and so it's funded by the federal government.
Okay. So it's part of Muskegon Area District Library, but funding for this specific is really state and federal
Yes.
funded.
Yeah.
Very interesting marriage of how that all works.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very, it's made so that we can be out in the community like this and helping them, as opposed to it all being centered in like the capital city of the state.
Right.
So we can reach out and partner with our local communities.
Wonderful. All right, so let's talk about the Talking Book program because I'm really intrigued by that. As I said, I'm an avid reader, and I know things about audiobooks, that I could do on my Kindle app or whatever, and I could do that. But this is different than that. So tell me about it. I know you brought some visual things as well.
I did.
So I like that too. So what is the Talking Book program? You said this is a national program.
It is a national program. It's in every state. It also is for people who are overseas. There's a person who will get that to them if they need it. The program provides audiobooks and players and braille books for those who cannot read or hold books in standard print. So we have the player here, and we have books that we send in the mail and that are able to be read for people who can't see the books.
So what kind of a form? Are they like a CD or a tape?
It's a digital cassette. So if I take this out, this is the case that it comes in the mail.
To protect it?
Yes, and then it comes on a little cartridge.
So it's a little bit different than our old cassette tapes,
Yes.
but the same size as a cassette tape.
The same size.
We're talking with a lot of older adults, too,
Yes.
so they'll recognize that.
Yes,
So
yes.
This is a technology I've not seen before. This
Yes.
is a different media form.
Yes, it's made bigger so that it's easier to hold. It has a hole in it to make it easier to hold. And you see the side here, there's a plug, and you just plug it straight into the front of the player like this.
Okay.
And once it clicks in, then it starts playing automatically once the player is on.
Okay.
So it
And
is.
so the round, that's a little speaker then.
Yep,
There,
we've
assuming
got-
looks like there's some volume controls.
Yep, we've got the speaker, we've got volume controls here, power button, play and stop, forward and rewind. All of the main keys are colored for those who have some vision, and all of them are different shapes. There's also tone and speed, so if they need the person to speak slower or speak at a lower register, they can do that to a certain degree. And there's also a sleep button, so you can press it. Every time you press it, it's 15 extra minutes, and then it will turn off.
Oh, okay.
Which is very helpful for some people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So who is this really designed for? Who's your ideal Talking Book client or participant?
It really depends. It covers a different amount of people. The main people we're trying to reach are the people who are blind or visually impaired, where they can no longer read regular print. So someone who reads only large print would qualify. Someone who is completely blind qualifies. And we usually reach people who are blind early in life through the Muskegon ISD or the Ottawa ISD, the school district. But people who become blind or visually impaired later in life, we need to reach out to them as well, especially in the senior community, to be able to let them know this is available for them. And also it's for people who are physically disabled, so anyone with arthritis or maybe Parkinson's, something that keeps someone from holding a book, would also qualify even if they have no vision problems.
Okay, great. So is there a cost for the program?
There is no cost. Like I said before, it is federally funded, so our tax dollars are paying for it, and there is no cost no matter what happens in the program. So there's no cost for postage. We mail everything, the player and the books, completely free, and postage is paid to return them as well.
So they're not having to physically go to the library
Nope.
to get all this. They can go if they want assistance.
Yes.
Or things like that.
They can call me. They never have to see me if they don't want to. Of course, I love to see people. When people come in, it's very nice. But they never have to leave their homes to use this program if they don't want to. I have some people who call me asking about the program. I will mail them the application and give them an envelope to mail it back to me.
Oh, that was going to be my next question then. So how do they sign up for that?
So they sign up with an application we have to have filled out. It goes through all of their preferences, gives us their address, phone number, birthday, and has to be signed by a certifying authority. So that is the thing where this program doesn't cost anything, but it has to be signed by a doctor, nurse, or social worker that you do qualify. Because this is through the Library of Congress, and so we have to make sure it's being used appropriately.
So I'm able-bodied. I'm not going to qualify because nobody's going to sign off on that. That I don't have a physical disability.
Physical
my
or
vision
dis-
is fine
yeah.
that I can do that.
But it is nice, one nice thing about this program, it does go for people who are temporarily incapacitated.
Okay.
So if someone has eye surgery and can't see for possibly 6 months, they can qualify for this program during those 6 months and then return it once they're able to be.
So it's a rental kind of a program, a
Yes.
loaner program.
It's a loaner
not rental
program.
because they're not paying. So they're loaning this isn't their keep, but
Yes.
they can.
Yeah.
Is there a limit how long somebody can keep, if they've always been blind?
If they've always been blind, they keep it for as long as they want it or until they can no longer use it.
Okay, and then they check in with you if something changes in their
Yeah.
situation.
Yep, we always have a contact person in case something does happen.
Emergency contact or
Yep,
something.
so that we can get it back. This is loaned to someone for as long as they want it, and if they don't want it, even if just they don't think it's working out, there's no problem. They can always just send it back to us, and we won't.
And no mailing cost or anything? of
Nope,
that means provided?
nope. And even if they lose something, they lose one of the books, the player gets damaged, there's no cost in replacing it. They never have to worry about that. Obviously, if you lose about 20 books, we might stop sending them to you for a while, but there's never a cost for anything.
Not a fine like we have for when we have
Nope.
the library books.
We prefer you return the books after a couple months, and we might call you and be like, hey, can you return this, please? But there's never going to be a cost for returning it.
Okay. So what kind of books are in the program? And how many?
There are over 90,000 titles.
Oh, wow.
I think we're currently at about 96,000 titles. All genres and types. We have all ages. So we have books for preschoolers all the way up through adult. We have mysteries, westerns, nonfiction, fiction, pretty much anything you could possibly want. And at all different levels. We have levels for language and violence, and we can have people specifically say if they accept books like that or not.
Okay.
So we can tailor it more to their specific needs.
Now, is this kind of a regional or statewide lending library, or are those all titles that this library has specifically?
So we have the 90,000 titles through the federal government, the Library of Congress,
Okay.
and then all of the books are held in Lansing.
Okay.
And they keep a decent number of them, but if certain ones aren't going out, they might not hold on to them. But we also have an online database of them called Bard, where you can get any of the titles available.
So you're not going to be able to call and be assured that you're going to get it that day or the next day. You might have to wait a few days. It's not like when I can go online to the library co-op, and if it's available for me to do on my Kindle app, I did that yesterday. I pulled up a book that I wanted to start and started that day. So there might be a wait of a couple days for it to get mailed to you.
There might be a wait of a couple days. For those who are more technologically savvy, we do have the Bard program,
Okay.
which you can use with your smart device.
Okay.
And can use an app to be able to get them immediately.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of people are less tech savvy, might not be able to use the computer or have a high-speed internet connection, and so then they would use the mailing service.
Okay.
And typically, once we order a book, it takes about 3 days to get to here. from
Okay,
Lansing.
that's not too bad.
Yeah.
It looks like it's pretty simple. How many people do you have using it right now, roughly?
In the 2 counties I service, which are Muskegon and Ottawa County, I have about just under 500 people.
Okay, and you'd like to have more?
Yes,
That's what I hear.
I always, it's not that I want to have more, it's that I want more people to know this is available.
Right, to have the option
The
of getting
option,
it.
yeah. Because like I said, we don't pressure anyone to use this. If I have people who use it for a couple months and they decide, no, I don't want it anymore, but we want to make sure that it's available for them.
And so somebody with really just a vision impairment might just be able to do something simple like an audiobook program or something like that. So let's talk a little bit more about the other adaptive technology that's available at the library for the visually and physically disabled. What else do you have there besides the Talking Book program?
So we have our accessible, no. Okay.
We'll pause for a minute while we're dealing with our technical difficulties.
Should I just put this on the current?
Yes, that'll be fine. No worries. So we can see why people would be challenged with technology,
Yeah.
or challenged with it even right here.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to go, what other kind of things are available at the library?
So we have our accessible computer stations. So what those are computer stations that have larger screens, large text keyboards for people who are not able to see as well with high contrast. And they have programs on them like JAWS, which is a screen reader program. So it will see what's on the computer, and it'll read that text to you out loud.
Oh, okay.
And it is a program that a lot of people who are blind use, but it can also be used by people with visual impairments. We also have something called Zoom Text, which will like blow up a quarter of the screen really big so that people can see it better.
Okay.
And then we have on one of our computers, it's in a separate room, and it's for people who are more hearing impaired.
Oh, okay.
And so we have Dragon Naturally Speaking on there, so that allows you to be able to dictate to the computer, and it will, what you say will be written on the computer in a file for you.
Okay.
We also have an open book combo, which will take a picture of something, a picture of a page, and then read it out loud to you. So it helps people, and we put them in the room, and we can shut the door so that people who...
They can play it as loud as they need to without bothering other patrons.
Yeah. And we also have CCTVs, which are magnifying TVs. They basically have like a little telescope that looks down at something and it magnifies it on a TV for people. We have also a Braille embosser for people who might need something put into Braille. There's no cost for that. You can send us a file and we can Braille it out for you. And we have a refreshable Braille display for people to try, which is something that you can hook up to a device, and the text that's on the screen will pop up in Braille characters for someone who's blind.
Wow, these are technologies I've never heard, I've never been aware of.
I know, that's why we have it. They're not available to be checked out.
Right.
But
you
they
come,
are.
You come there, and I'm assuming you have staff that can help with that.
Yep.
With all this technology.
That's
you.
me.
That's your expertise, Sarah.
That's my expertise.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm able to help people either by appointment or drop-in.
Appointment's probably better to ensure that they've got your time.
Yes, yes. But if you drop in, I can see what time I can help with, but you can just call my number, and then I'd be able to set something up with people. I've helped people with different aspects of the service and the different pieces of technology as they come in.
And what days and hours are you usually there?
I am usually there. The library is open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. And I'm usually the person who's there.
Okay. So most of the time when you call, they're talking to you. Is there other staff available?
There are other staff available. I have some people who help when I'm away or who are there.
Somebody's got to be there while you're here.
Yeah, somebody's got to be there while I'm here to help the people who might call or come in. But usually I'm the person who is present and will help people out.
Wonderful. So is there any other information that we should be aware of from the Library for the Visually and Physically Disabled? Any other things that you want to share with us?
We do have programs for people. So we have our descriptive audio movies. So I don't know if you know this.
No, tell me about those. Those are intriguing.
Yeah. So there is an audio track on a lot of DVDs that lets, like, just with the languages in the setup, it's called English descriptive or audio descriptive, and it will, between the lines of audio, like speaking, it will describe what's happening on the screen.
Oh, okay.
So people who have low vision or are blind can still enjoy a movie even if they can't see it. It kind of turns it into an audiobook for them.
Okay, so they're hearing what's being said, but then they're getting a description of
what's on
what
the
the
screen.
characters are doing or something.
Yes, exactly. Okay. And it's on a lot of DVDs already. You don't have to usually get it special.
Okay,
It's
so there's
already
just
on.
probably a setting you need to get,
Yep.
like you do for the closed caption
Yes,
kind
exactly.
of thing. Okay, so it's a similar.
Yeah, so at the library, a couple times a season, we will show a movie and have that on for people to come in and see, and we have refreshments, and that's
Keep
really
an eye out
fun.
for that. That
Yeah,
would be
we just had
interesting to
one
hear.
today,
Okay.
and it was the Shack, and then we had one, the Green Book, a few months ago.
Okay.
And we have more coming up in the spring.
Okay.
And if you ever want to know about them, you can see that in our newsletter.
Okay.
It has all of the programs for all of the different libraries, but also ours as well. And we have our JAWS classes too. So the JAWS program that I mentioned, you can get taught by a person who has used the program throughout their lifetime, and they will show you how to use it.
Oh, excellent. So somebody who's experienced could tell you the ins and outs and what's been helpful.
We have
and what
appointments
hasn't.
that people can
Oh,
sign
very
up
nice.
for and then be able to use that. I can also help to a limited extent.
But somebody who uses it regularly
Yes.
and has done it for a long time
Yeah.
would really be helpful in that.
Yeah.
That's a great way for somebody to be able to give back, also for the service that they've benefited from.
Yeah,
What
we've had a
wonderful
couple
idea.
of those, and they've gone pretty well. So we're
Great.
continuing that. So if people want to.
So let's talk, I know you don't do this as much, but let's talk about the public library side, because certainly a lot of our people who are watching do still have or they may know somebody who this is perfect for, but they want to go with somebody to the
Yes.
library or something. So, and you mentioned this fabulous newsletter, and we always have this at Tanglewood Park when it comes out a few times a year. Anything really big and new that's going on?
At the library?
Yeah, at the library in
Yeah,
general.
so we have Norton Shores has opened on Sundays now.
I am in Norton Shores, and
Yes.
I've been there on a Sunday. That's pretty
Yes,
exciting.
7 days a week. That's very exciting.
Is that the only library branch that's open 7 days a week, do you know?
Now, yes,
Now it is,
currently.
okay.
We didn't have any before that.
Right.
And so this is the first one, and maybe, I don't know if we're going to do more in the future, but I'm assuming if this goes well, maybe. We went fines-free for children. So children's materials no longer get fines to be able to help kids be able to read and use the library. We have our Storyville project that's opening. That's at 3 branches, Muskegon Heights, Montague, and Norton Shores. And those are, I believe that they're called like learning villages. So they encourage early literacy through play and song, and parents will go in with their children and help them learn, because most of brain development is apparently before kids reach kindergarten.
Right. The first 5
Which
or
I
6
didn't
years of
know.
their lives.
So-
Yes, like about 90% of it is at that time.
Yeah. So we have our early literacy person at the library who's been heading this, and she told me about that, and I was like, wow.
When is that supposed to open? I know it's been in the works for years. I
Yes,
remember hearing about it
yes.
and doing some fundraising for it.
I
and-
believe it's opening the end of this month, beginning of next.
Oh, wow, that's really imminent.
Yes.
That would have been a wonderful thing when my 20 and 18-year-old children were small to do that. So that would be
Yes.
exciting. So 3 branches, because I know initially it was only discussed in one, so that's
Yes,
really great. So
yeah.
you said Norton Shores, Muskegon Heights, and Montague?
Montague,
So we've
yes.
got a good range.
A good
throughout the
range,
county.
yeah, and they're all tailored towards the library. So like they have a submarine and more nautical theme at Montague because it's on the lake, and they have a camp store and some other things at the at Norton Shores. So they have like a little baby garden, and then there's going to be like it's called the neighborhood at Muskegon Heights.
Nice. So they're really specific more to those communities,
Yeah.
and they can feel some more ownership of that.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
anybody can go to any one of these branches at any time.
Yes,
correct?
yes.
And tax dollars are paying for that.
Yes.
So that's really exciting to hear.
Yeah.
One of the things that we talk about in the senior world a lot is social isolation, and that being a really big negative impact. And it's a really, when people, can't communicate with people and they're not having those conversations enough, that's a really detrimental health impact
Yeah.
on them, the equivalent of smoking packs of cigarettes. And I know I've read some research that reading or listening to an audiobook can help alleviate feelings of loneliness and social isolation. So our library system is a wonderful tool for that. I'm really pleased that I have stopped buying so many books and have really, since my kids are off to college and I'm reading a lot more, I've been going to the library. I know that you can, if they don't have the book you want in the library, you can request it, and they have their interlibrary, the collaborative system, and I know I got those promptly within days,
Yes.
the books that I asked for. And again, it's funded by our tax dollars. The Muskegon Area District Library, that general side, is funded by our local tax dollars that we do. So I think it's a really great tool for us to remind people that it's really fun to get lost in a book, isn't
Yeah,
it? And
yeah.
just, it saddens me to think that people with visual impairments might, or other physical disabilities would lose that. So,
And that's what we're trying to do, is make sure they don't have to lose that. A lot of vivacious readers tell me that they think they can't read anymore. We let them know that that's not necessarily
I think that's a
true.
big fear with people when they start having vision problems, that they're
Yeah.
going to lose that ability. And whether it's the newspaper or even watching the TV screen or something, keeping up with what's going on around you is really challenging to
Yeah.
do. How long has the Talking Books program been around? I don't know. if I
Since the
asked you.
30s.
Oh my goodness,
It
really?
started with record players.
Oh wow.
And then it moved to cassettes, and then this is the most recent iteration, I believe in the past 10 years or so.
Oh my goodness, I had no
so-
idea it had been around for that long.
I know a lot of people don't realize it's been around for so long, but it has been. I actually saw one of those record players very recently, and they're very big. I'm glad I don't have to deal with those.
No, this is a lot easier to drop in the mail and,
Yes.
and get it out there. So let's, before I forget, let's share how they can get it, how they can learn more. Share your website. How can they get all this? You've got all the good numbers. And
I've got all the
things to
good numbers.
Tell our viewers how to get a hold of you.
Yes. So you can reach us and learn more at madl.org. That's MADL.org. You can learn about the program and about the library in general. You can also call the LVPD at 231-737-6310 or email me at smahoney@madl.org or checking out our Facebook page for the Muskegon Area District Library.
Okay. And then this newsletter is distributed around the community, I think quarterly, maybe? Or
it's quarterly or tri-yearly.
Okay. And so we've got it at Tanglewood Park. I know it's at the library, of course, and lots of other community places that we can do. Library is really such a great source in the community for all kinds of information. I mean, I know we have our Senior Perspectives newspaper there, and when I talk to people, many, many people say they pick that up there. You can get magazines there. You can do the audio books. There's so many things. It's a really, and lots of them have community center rooms and other things going on. Periodically, the Friends of the Library have book sales, which I've taken advantage
I've seen,
of.
a little too much maybe,
probably.
And I've seen that it's one of the last places that you can go where you don't have to buy something to be able to be there. It's one of those last bastions of the community.
Yeah. It's really something that I'm really pleased that we have the opportunity to promote, because I just think that the library is something that perhaps our older generation appreciates more than our younger ones do. That's where I think Storyville is going to be so exciting to bring those kids in, because it's very easy. You know, a Barnes & Noble has gone to having the children's area with the reading and the reading groups and things like that. And I just remember growing up in Ionia and going to the library, a beautiful old library there all the time, and reading Ant and Bee books, and then Happy Hollisters and the Bobbsey Twins and all those. And I loved going there and doing that. And then I kind of got away from it for a long time, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, once you get into that teen stage, it's kind of hard. They kind of drops off a little bit. But we work to try and get those kids back into the
there's a lot of it, especially in the summer.
Yes.
But to me, we're coming into fall, well, supposedly in fall. Winter.
Yes.
we're into winter, it seems like right now. To me, this is a great time to be really using the library, because we're inside a lot more.
Yes.
There's nothing better to me than snuggling up under a blanket with a good book.
A good book and a hot beverage.
And just reading for a couple of hours and losing yourself. Or sitting with your talking book player and listening to somebody tell you that. So are any of the books read by celebrities or authors or things? Every once in a while you hear, like, Tom Hanks narrated this. So.
Some of them are. They're all human narrated, which is nice.
No computerized
Nope.
Siri kind of voice.
But some of them are narrated by specific people. They're all voice actors. Some of them we get recorded for us by specific voice actors. Some of them we take the audio recording, we request it from the publisher, and they give it to us, so whoever they had do it, if that's the author or someone else.
All right.
Could be there as
Well, they're giving me my we're out of time already kind of thing. So I'm going to remind our viewers that you can contact the Library for the Visually and Physically Disabled by calling 737-6310. That's 737-6310. And Sarah, thank you for sharing this great information. I really hope that people will find out more about this for themselves or their loved ones. If you can't remember that number, remember you can always call 211. They have information on it as well. And they'll happily direct you to the Muskegon Area District Library and the Library for the Visually and Physically Disabled. Thanks for watching. We hope you'll join us next time.
Thank you.